I wasn't expecting much. I'm not disappointed as we come up on the pump. Mostly it's just a rusted piece of metal sticking out of the ground. Kudzu seems a bit put off by how lame it is himself.
Smaller than I remember it being.
It's something, at least. I'll get a few shots out of it.
That does sound pretty lame. Like it's just a water pump.
It is just a water pump, but I mean, like, look at where we are.
Yeah, I guess so.
I start unpacking the camera from the bag, a bit reluctant to do it for something so insignificant. How'd you find this thing anyway? I look towards the road, which is basically hidden by the dense brush in front of me. We have perfect privacy to get up to anything around here.
Needed to take a piss. I know my house is right there, but peeing outside is liberating.
I'm marking my territory.
It honestly is. It's not good for the environment.
Will you be my territory?
Oh my god.
Ah.
Speaking of which, I'm gonna go do that.
He pauses.
You can follow me if you want. I can do it in front of the pump if you'd like, for effect. Oh.
Will you be my territory? I force a laugh, wondering if this is the first time I've heard the raccoon make a joke.
He's like, it wasn't a joke.
Yes, I hope it's a joke.
That's not a joke.
My laughing turns to a groan, though, when I see the battery level. First my phone, now this. It's almost like I should plug anything in.
Yeah, what kind of professional are you?
Although, honestly, when I get a life-threatening concussion via being attacked by a redneck, I think the whole trip's off at that point.
Yeah, I know. I think you would just leave, and then plugging things in would be irrelevant.
Can't wait to document the rest of this place.
What's up?
Kudzu asks from a bit deeper in the brush, facing away from me. My battery's low. Not gonna have enough for the school. I'll have to go back and grab a spare.
Oh, well, why don't you finish the footage for the pump while I run back and grab you another battery?
You sure? Uh-oh.
Oh, he's leaving us alone!
Yeah!
Well, yeah, it'll be faster. I've been in his house a few times. Where's it at?
In a dock, on his desk next to his computer. With all of his porn of me.
And the gun, which means you shouldn't just go walk in on someone's house that has a gun without announcing yourself.
But they're
first.
best buds.
I don't care.
He might be Leo's only friend.
Well, besides us? Are we his friend?
We're in a different status.
We're on a different
We're relationship
level.
Complicated. We
Yeah.
simultaneously romantically involved and also probably shouldn't know each other.
Is that a status on Facebook?
Yeah, it's a very long drop down menu at this point.
Alright, I'll be back.
Why would don't split up in the place where people try to murder me?
Kudzu seems like he could protect us.
Yeah.
Stay with us, please.
Please.
You look tactical.
Short King, protect me. And with that, Kudzu jogs off into the brush and back onto the road. Well, within a minute, I feel like I have all the footage I can get out of the pump.
Yeah, like 1 minute, because you take like,
Yeah, I'm like,
one
how-
picture, one
Yeah.
picture, like, you know, like what are you looking at, really?
Like, how long do you need to document the pump that you can't just go with the bat? Like, how are you saving time sending Kudzu for the battery?
And I feel like you should just take your pictures and then go back together, because
I think that's why we're tense, is that this extra signals the idea that something's gonna happen. Like,
it's
they're just
not
splitting up
logical.
for the sake of it. I sigh and rub my face, glad to at least be out of the sun, but annoyed that I've gotten so little footage for it. As I'm doing this, I hear what sounds like a gag behind me. I perk my ears and look back. I hear it again, but it's softer, more of a grunt this time. I'm almost positive that Kudzu didn't go that way, but I can't imagine what else it would be. Kudzu? I wonder if maybe that heat has gotten to him. I know how dangerous a heat stroke can be. Getting a little worried, I start moving further into the brush. You hear that?
Yeah, I heard the sound effect. Like the,
That was really quiet, but I heard this. Wait, what volume am I at? I just pressed it a bunch. Now we're gonna get jump scared by the next sound.
Next time the gag's gonna be like, wah!
Again, I hear a gag, and it's much louder this time. Kud, you alright? You think you're allowed to just abbreviate his name like that? So forward.
You guys just met.
I start pushing deeper with a bit more urgency, and not 20 yards in, I come into a clearing. The ground is covered in dead grass, and the sun hits me again with a vengeance. I blink furiously, eyes watering under the brightness of the clearing and the blazing red behind my eyelids. After a few seconds, I'm able to pry my eyes open. The first thing I notice is a peeling trailer to the right, pressed up into the trees. I have some vague memories of a trailer back here, where a grumpy badger used to live.
It sounds adorable.
Yeah. Sounds like the painting in our bathroom.
Yeah.
It's like a little train station with like badgers and stuff.
I think it's like Mrs. Potter's or something. It's like a storybook series.
Straight in front of me in the meadow is a dead tree, one with dry, gnarled branches that twist up into the sky. The tree itself would be eerie enough, but it's what's under it that stops me dead. It takes a moment to comprehend what I see. Hanging from the lowest branch is a body, long and thin, emaciated down to the skeleton. Again? They have so many hanging trees in this town.
It's not a good town to live in, though.
No! Now it's time for the Minecraft music again. I remain rooted to the spot, my mouth hanging open. Disgustingly, my mind immediately goes to the camera. I don't know why.
Was it Jake Paul? Was it Jake Paul that did that, or Logan Paul?
Logan Paul did the photographed in the body in the suicide forest.
Yeah, don't pull a Logan Paul.
Yeah. Granted, I don't think photographing it is the line. I think the line is posting it on social media.
That is a good point.
Especially like you mugging in the thumbnail, like, "Whoa, I went to the suicide forest, guys. Click on this for views, and I'll make money from it." As opposed to like,
I think it's the profiting from it that's probably the problem.
Yeah.
And the lack of privacy for the dead person's loved ones.
Because if you find a dead body, there's like 100 reasons to take a picture of it.
Yeah, that is true. And to be completely honest, I would take a picture of it.
Yeah.
I would. But I would tell someone about it also. And then I wouldn't go out I wouldn't be posing with it. I wouldn't. No. I wouldn't do a dab next to it or anything.
It's more like a combination of would anyone believe you / you wondering you'd think about it, you'd want to see what the fuck was that again? And also what if it's gone? What if it disappears? So you're well, I have the only evidence there was a body. What the fuck?
Well, you go back to the police, you have something to show them, that way they actually make the effort to come out. What?
I just had the interesting question. Remember the last dead body we saw was not there.
Oh, yeah, it was imaginary there.
He's gonna take a picture of it.
Which could maybe prove or disprove it being actually there.
Yeah, is this one here or not? And also, will it show up
in the picture?
If he... I guess it's digital pictures for later, but will it show... If you see a fake dead body, will it imaginary...
Or if you hallucinate a dead body.
Yeah, will it imaginary appear on your camera while you're looking at it while you're still in that realm or whatever, but then disappear when you look away?
I feel like you'd be able to convince yourself it would be on the camera, but then when you snap out of it, you go back and you just find pictures of trees, and you'd be like, what the fuck was I doing?
Which tree was the one with the body in it? Normal problems. Yeah, showing footage of a dead body to the whole class. Either I get an A for being edgy, or that's not how you spell edgy, or I'd fail for showing a fucking dead body. Probably expelled, actually. I don't know, ask the teacher first. I feel my stomach starting to turn, and I'm finally able to take my first step back. But then it moves. You should have taken a picture. It's a quick jerk. One of the skeleton's hands reaching up spasmodically to its neck before slumping back down. With my eyes fully adjusted to the sun now, I recognize the color of the fur, the build of that skeleton-like body. Clint! Oh, it's real.
Uh-oh.
Probably. On unsteady feet, I manage to stumble forward and reach out towards the ringtail, aiming to at least hold him up until I can shout Kudzu over to help. Somehow, though, he's able to spin and face me, his face an expression of mortified fury. His eyes are almost glowing with how bloodshot they are, and his twisted muzzle is covered in drool, leaking down his chin and onto his chest.
Get back. Leave.
What? Clint, what the hell are you doing? I move forward again, but Clint lashes out with a foot, hitting me in the knee. That's when I see his toes are touching the ground, at least barely. I stare in confusion and look back up to meet Clint's furious eyes.
Fucking leave!
Spit flies from his muzzle as I take a step back, completely at a loss for words. I don't... His bulging eyes move from mine to look over my shoulder, and his enraged expression melts, eyes growing wider. Slowly, I turn around, and my vision is filled with a mountain of brown fur. My eyes take a moment to draw out and focus, and when they do, I realize that I'm actually looking at a bear. A huge one, even for a bear. Huge, naked, and carrying a long, thin branch. The bear stands in the direction I'd come from, grinning stupidly at me. Instinctively, I widen my stance, eyes looking left and right. All reason has seemingly left the land of Echo, and now my brain is left to try and put the pieces of the crazy place together.
What the fuck's happening?
I think he was gonna beat him with a switch while he was hanging.
Yeah, well, I figured that, but I mean, for what?
So
Why?
I think Clint, instead of being some sort of weird ritual where like Clint just like, I want to hang myself, go away. It's like
Go away.
She's like yelling at us to go away because of this is happening apparently.
Because he doesn't want us to get hurt, or because they're doing some weird fetishy thing?
I was gonna go over the first one, but I don't know. Clint's inconsistent. On a lot of things. I watch as a huge tongue sticks out from beneath the blubbery lips to lick at them, sliding slimily between the gaps of missing teeth. Once he's done with that, he breaks out into a grin again, those black lips shimmering under the sun. Just a giant bear.
Is this a friend cat?
The weirdly high-pitched voice is about as startling as his size. I look back at Clint, who's still struggling to stand on his toes, clutching at the rope now.
So hard finding a good switch back there, but now it's worth it if there's two of yous.
The squeak that comes from my muzzle seems to perk the bear's stubby ears, and he licks his lips again as he eyes me up and down. I should get going. Sorry about seeing words fail me as the bear takes a step forward and I start sidestepping, preparing myself to make a run for it. The bear mimics my stance and my stomach drops as I see him take another step forward. I change my trajectory and back away instead. This time he doesn't follow me, just grins as he watches me move back into the brush. Clint struggles on the end of the rope, twirling around lazily as he tries to get a foothold. I get one last look at his face as he spins around, and I'm struck by the expression. For a moment, I'm 9 years old again, running behind the buildings of Main Street, probably from imaginary foreign agents of some kind. When I hide behind a tree next to Clint's house, I hear the screen door open, and for several minutes I watch Clint breathing deeply into a rag. I'm too young to understand, but for some reason I know it's not good. When I finally decide to run from my hiding spot, Clint looks up and we meet eyes. His are wide and wild, confused and hurt, just like now. I stumble into the brush, finally feeling like I'm far enough away to turn and really make a run for it. I think we're flashing back to him getting beaten by his dad, who's in prison right now, I think.
No, I mean, he was breathing into a rag, which makes me think he was huffing.
You think he was huffing? Well, he was like hurt.
No, he said his eyes were like confused and wild and hurt looking. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's very possible that he could have gotten hurt by his dad. He was breathing deeply into a rag. I think he was just really on drugs.
Let's see.
Because I've seen like wild-eyed faces and they're kind of scary.
Yeah, I don't know.
And for several minutes, he's breathing deeply into a rag.
Well, it makes me think he's stifling him, like he's stifling his reaction. But there could be something in the rag.
That is possible.
But something just fucking happened.
Yeah, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
he's like, oh, let's sit down and record some echo. So I wasn't expecting like 5 minutes in a bear to show up with a switch. Like,
I mean, that's why this is so entertaining.
You know, it's funny. They mentioned the bear showing up, and they're obviously in the woods. So part of me was like, is this going to be an anthropomorphic bear, or is this just like a bear, like how we would deal with a bear? Like,
there's like, you have just a moment of hesitation where you're like not sure if you're dealing with an animal or a person in this kind of setting.
As soon as they mentioned that he was naked, I was like, oh, he's supposed to be wearing clothes, so he's an anthropomorphic bear.
Kudzu's standing next to the pump when I get back, holding a battery.
What?
I grab his arm and yank him towards the road. Come on. I muttered under my breath before jogging down the road, Kudzu close behind, looking over his shoulder. It's not until we're at the end of the road, turning onto Main Street, before I'm able to slow myself down and tell Kudzu what happened. For me, the surprise was the fact that we flashed back to dealing with Clint again, and I was like, oh, he's flashing back to the water balloon memory, but he was not.
I think it's mainly about seeing someone when they're vulnerable. You know, like regardless to like what the interpretation is, they both work for that in terms of being like kind of frustrated and angry because you are being caught in a vulnerable situation. So you like, you kind of resent that person in some like panicked way.
There's a goddamn there's a bit of a back and forth where like because inherently, when you have a flashback like that, you're thinking this is running parallel to something that's happening. So I thought my first go-to was expecting the flashback to be the water balloon flashback again, or some reference to it. And then that one, the core of that memory is basically that we run and hide when Carl's in trouble and we don't help him, and then Leo's the one that helps. And so I was primed for the idea that someone's being victimized in that scene. And so then when you have Clint coming out of the trailer huffing like breathing heavily into a rag, and it's also when we're much younger. I'm like, oh, his dad's around. His dad was probably beating him, but it could have been this other thing too. Like they're both of these match both scenarios, and the funny thing is that our split interpretations of the flashback also matched the split interpretations of what's happening right now, which is whether or not he's getting beaten or this is a thing that he's embarrassed to be seen doing.
Yeah.
Like we can't tell what to make of this.
No, the context as to why he's there is very confusing. Because him shooing us away could be like an act of mercy upon us, or it could be like, I'm humiliated to be seen like this. And the bear's intentions are very much unclear because he asked if we were friends and then he seemed excited to beat us both, but that also could be because he's a sadist or because he's a sadist, you know? The fun kind or the not fun kind?
I don't know what this means.
Holy shit. That's Brian.
Who? I'm still panting, sweating heavily in the heat after the short jog down the street.
Big ass bear that lives in the brush, right? He has a trailer in there.
I don't know him. Did he move here after I left? I thought a badger lived in that trailer.
I assume so. He was here when I got here.
Well, what the fuck was he doing? What the hell did I just see? My mind is still trying to process it.
I don't have the answer. Can't say I'm surprised, though.
Are you serious? That's like the most fucked up thing I've ever seen.
Kuzu's like, I'm not surprised by anything.
Kuzu smirks. Well, wait till you see the dark web.
Well, I guess it would have had to have been there, huh?
I stare at him. Yeah, I guess.
But from what I know of Brian, he's dumb and violent. Pretty sure he came here because he caused too much trouble in Peyton.
It's Clint that's the fucked up part. He's a fucking homophobe, but he's doing that shit?
I don't know much about Clint either. What I do know is that Brian is his dealer.
Really?
Well, really the entire town's dealer.
It made sense that Clint would need one in Echo, considering he was banned for life from driving after getting like 3 DUIs. But I thought Jeremy did that. Carl told me that's where he gets his weed.
It's not weed, though. Like, yeah. That's a thing.
Because Jeremy is what's her? Jenna's brother.
Yeah.
I'm like, not Jasmine, not Jasmine. We still need to learn about that. Kudzu shrugs again.
I assume Clint is using more than just marijuana. Yeah, that's a different kind of dealer. Like, it's not the same guy all the time.
It's becoming clearer what kind of relationship Clint and the bear have. I shudder, just wishing that I hadn't had to witness it. I already feel bad for Clint, but now... Kudzu holds the battery still in his hand. Let's just go back to our normal day now.
Yeah, let's just forget this ever happened.
I think a lot of Echo is compartmentalization.
Yeah. A lot of people's lives are compartmentalization. Want to move to the school?
Yeah, let's do that. The next hour is pretty uneventful, though I do get enough footage to the point where I'm satisfied. There is a point where I notice Duke down the road. He stands there for a while, watching us as I'm getting different angles of the school.
He's like, is that chase real?
Yeah. It's annoying, but even though he's a complete fuck-up, he likes to pretend like he's in control of things in Echo. Probably just promoted himself to sheriff of the town in his mind or something. I ignore him, though, and the next time I look up, he's gone. I turn my attention back to the project, finally able to calculate how much work I actually have left. Now most of my work is going to have to happen the night before the due date. I swallow, stomach churning at the thought. On the bright side, all of the stress is pushing the memory of Clint being hanged and whipped out of my mind. Later on, I finally get another text from Leo, just before my phone dies. Now our phone's gonna die?
Oh no.
Heading back. Oh fuck, what day isn't it? Isn't it like time?
Yeah, I think so.
Man. I'm trying to remember what. Yeah, this. I think we're like around the time of when things go, because I think we were questioning whether or not we're gonna have the lake scene. Like we're that. I think we're already that deep in.
Yeah, because once again that was Friday. I remember that because, wait, was it Friday? Shoot, it was Friday or Saturday because I remember thinking it was weird for an interview.
I'm hungry. We should meet at the diner. Sure. Oh, maybe I think I said last time, because it's been a while, it's been 2 weeks for context. I think I thought that it was his family chewing him out for skipping on work all week while pretending to have the time off to us.
Mm-hmm.
But what if it was everybody else in the group going after him for how he's been acting, and now we're gonna still try to have the lake scene? And I'm just thinking about the fact that we're going to the diner. I'm like, oh, that's where we talked to Leo about going to the lake.
Oh yeah, but in this situation, we have been hanging out with him this whole time, so we don't have to have some sad heart-to-heart about how we've been neglecting him.
Granted, I don't know if there's anywhere else to eat besides this diner.
From what I can tell, it seems like it is the only place to eat in the entire town.
I invite Kudzu to come along, but he tells me that he can't stand diner food, and he was gonna go fishing anyway. It's too bad, because I've been really enjoying the raccoon's company, and fishing sounds relaxing. Oh no, you caught me. I try to exchange numbers with the raccoon, but my screen dies the moment I turn it on. Kudzu takes my number, though, and promises to text me. I'm feeling better walking to the diner, but then I remember what happened with Leo. What I might have to do. Should I bring it up now? Just break up with Leo and just spend the rest of the route with Kudzu?
That'd be a funny, turn of events.
I mean, that is the happy ending, is that Chase just pairs up with the emotionally stable extra of whatever route he's in, instead of the character that you're actually there to talk to, because
all of our friends are fucked up. Yeah, everyone's fucked.
Yeah. Then we can find out, with Raven, he could have found out just how long otters can hold his breath.
Raven didn't seem like he had any emotional problems. He seemed like a happy-go-lucky guy.
Yeah. Should I bring it up now? I don't even know where it'll end up going. Could I even trust him again? Leo's not in the diner when I get there. I pick a booth toward the back, resting my head against the patchy cushions and closing my eyes. The week's gone by so fast. It feels like only yesterday that we actually got here. This is dumb, but the fact that we're talking about damaged diner booths and stuff, I'm like... So I used to work in an upholstery shop, And when a restaurant decides to fix their seats finally, that's just your job for a month. Like, that is just your job for a month. You just are taking apart and resurfacing, and then and also like carrying them from your and you have to load them all into a truck to get them to and from the restaurant. Like, you just do the same seat like 60 times. It is such a thing to work for a restaurant. Like, it's a lot of money, and it is secure pay, and you're just like, oh, we're employed this month, but you do one thing every day for weeks, like a factory.
How long does it take to reupholster like one half of one of those booths, like in the picture?
I don't know. I wasn't really timing it. I mostly just was in a podcast fueled days. I also don't sew, so I would never do the sewing machine stuff. So what I would do is I would actually physically dismantle I'd be the one that would dismantle the booths. And so what happens is that the vast majority of the time, if you take those cushions off, the entire back is just stapled. It's like they just take the vinyl and they stretch it around the seat, and then they just staple it to the back, and the back is just a plank of wood. That's like the level of like detail here. It's very different from dealing with car seats that are really elaborate and so on.
Yeah.
Like a booth seat is just a plank of wood with a cushion on it, and it's just two of those. And so what I had to do is I had to go through, and I would pull every single staple individually with a staple puller, those weird little like yellow handle
teethy things.
Yeah, the 4-tooth thing that has a little like angle to it on the end. And that's just tedious and mind-numbing, and if you're not careful, it'll like catch or slide, and you can like hit yourself with it if you're not being careful enough. And you're also like trying to, because I care, I'm also trying to do it at like just the right angle to not like leave a deep groove in the wood every single time I do it, because those things are covered in right angles. The staple puller is. But I had to take the whole cushion off, and then I had to leave a series of markings on the cushion with grease pencil to like show where certain parts of it connect, basically, so as references. Then I take a razor blade and I pop the stitches of the entire thing once I've marked how they all connect, so you can reassemble it like a remote or whatever. And then you take on the new material, I then mark out. You basically just trace each piece, like you just trace them and mark them out, and then you cut those out, and then those would get sewn together into like the new seat. Like, you just very directly transfer the pattern from the shitty material to the new one. But because you're dealing with this huge job, what I end up doing in the in-between is I actually mark the stuff out onto cardboard, and I make a cardboard like reference essentially, and I use that to just sit there like I'm stamping like cookies on a baking sheet. Like, I just will like maximize the surface, like try to use the area of the vinyl roll as efficiently as possible to just mark the same pattern like 30 times with just one piece of cardboard that I made as a stencil. And you just keep going and just burning through podcasts as you're doing one thing forever. It is such a anyway.
What a fancy trade that you learned that you now don't use because you do YouTube.
Well, and that's how I paid for my gas money, so I could then get my degree in geology that I also don't use. So
it's funny how life works, you know?
Yeah, everyone picks up a bunch of weird unrelated skills, and in the background, while I was doing this, I was already doing YouTube, so I was secretly working on my job thing, and here I am, I guess.
So yeah, early Keith videos, there's just upholstery in the background of his life.
Yeah, I just had, there's a lot of those early videos I have like fucked up knuckles and shit. Just little cuts here and there from everything. Thinking back, I remember worrying that everything was going to be awkward, that our past would catch up in the worst ways possible. And it kind of did. We didn't fix or talk about anything. That gives me a jolt of realization and sadness. This whole time, I've been preoccupied with Leo, and Leo with me. Wasn't Leo the one that was all concerned about us not keeping the pack together? This send-off feels empty and pointless. It's really the last time I might get to hang out with some of them, mainly Jenna and TJ. And TJ had the most shit to air out. Did I fuck up by basically ignoring him this whole time? Yes.
Yes. So they're all here right now?
Yeah. Admittedly, a lot of this is Flynn's fault for just like ruining our attempt to actually get anyone together like explosively.
Yeah, but you still should reach out to people individually.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to reach out to Flynn individually, fuck him, but everyone else, you know.
Yeah. I feel a lump in my throat as I think about the hike I never went on with him.
Oh gosh.
Yup.
Guilt.
Never happened. We promised him and everything. We're really, really bad at this. I think Chase being a kind of shitty person, though, is mandatory to make the story work. Not only because him being a shitty person is, in various ways, is part of the plot, but also, like, it structurally creates the narrative where we would split up with one person in each route, potentially, and be this kind of person that causes the scenario.
In terms of, like, dialogue and thought process, like, Chase doesn't come off like a shitty person, but he's forced into a context where he has to be a shitty person to have, like, we don't have the agency to make him not a shitty person.
Yeah, and it's less what he thinks and less what he doesn't think. It's more what he doesn't think.
Exactly. So it's like basically like he's kind to people when he talks to them, and he's generally pretty thoughtful, but he obviously can't be because he chose to go on like a really linear route that we can't get off of.
I was gonna say he's definitely not thoughtful. When he's confronted with somebody right in front of him, he knows how to handle them, but on the overall scale of things, he's not thoughtful about people collectively. Like, he almost doesn't have object permanence. Like, he immediately stops thinking about people.
That hike thing,
his immediate problem.
The hike thing, Chase didn't think about it ever. Like,
no,
we
thought about it. We spent this whole game thinking about all the different obligations he's not keeping up with, and he almost never does.
He's just like do.
And we know that because we have his internal monologue.
And right here, he's like, did I make a mistake by ignoring this person that I said I'd hang out with? Who is like
Marco was a much more thoughtful character in that. That way,
definitely.
Sure, I had figured things out with Leo. No. At least temporarily.
Not really.
Very temporarily, actually. Already things are in jeopardy again.
Remember those TV dinners? We need to talk about that.
But now it feels like I should have talked about But now it feels like things I should have talked about with the others have been buried further. Even though I haven't seen the others for a few days, I can feel their resentment, knowing that Leo and I had got what we wanted. Or at least, I thought I got what I wanted. Especially after leaving them to deal with the fallout of Flynn's meltdown. And now, because of that, it'll be harder to reach the root of the problem, harder to talk about it. And because of that, we probably never will. I glance at my dead phone. It's really weird seeing his face.
Yeah.
Oh, his eyes are in it. I can see his eyes.
And his little goatee?
That's unnerving. Yeah, I can see his eyes. He's got like gold in his eyes. It's really subtle. It's like gray enough on the screen that like the angle you view the computer screen at affects how well you can see the face in it. I glance at my dead phone, reminded of the complete lack of text from anyone other than Leo. I suppose this is life. Sometimes things are buried and never talked about again. And in a way, I guess it's for the best.
No!
Sydney's death will die with us. It just sucks that we all carry it, but can't rely on each other for support. I take a deep breath, wondering how long it will take me to process this whole trip. Or maybe my entire life up to this moment.
It seems like such a bad ending.
Yeah. It's at this point I notice Janice hasn't come up to take my order. The diner itself is completely quiet. No old rockabilly coming over the staticky speakers. I look around, wondering if maybe the place is closed. I remember a few businesses didn't lock their doors. Mostly because of negligent employees, because burglary is somewhat common here. I look through the plastic window in the swinging door to the kitchen, past the counter, and notice that the fluorescent lights are definitely on. In fact, it looks like I can see some movement from the shadows on the wall. I think about getting up and knocking on the door to let them know I'm here, but that's when the front door pushes open. Leo comes in, a big grin on his face. Chula! My stomach twists as he sweeps me up to my side, and I can't help but jerk it away as he kisses at my cheek. He pulls back, frowning. Chase? I sigh, not able to meet his eyes. Leo, I need to talk to you about something. Immediately I can see the worry in his eyes. He steps back, watching me. What? Sit down.
Oh no.
Why? Leo asks, but sits down anyway. Sit.
Good boy.
First off, I have to tell him that I looked at his fucking phone, and that's bad enough. I look to the right, heart pounding. Otter, what is it? His voice is soft, but I can hear the slight tremble in it. Leo, I looked at your phone. What? I jump at as Leo's hackles rise and he bares his teeth. It's not an angry reaction, more defensive, fearful. Leo, why the fuck would you do that? I shrink back, looking down as I listen to his breathing picking up. I'm sorry, but you know what I saw. Fuck. Fuck, man. Leo puts his face in my hands.
Be like, here you go.
You did the circle, and then the dog runs into it. Leo puts his face in his hands, which gives me an opportunity to look up. His ears are down, drooping towards the table. Why did you do that? I wait while Leo continues to hide his face, his body rocking. Not now. Not now what? You can't do this to me now, not after... I didn't do anything. You're the one texting people that I don't give a fuck about them. His head snaps up then, and I can see his eyes glistening. I didn't say that. I just said that you were busy. And what you said to TJ? Leo winces at that one, and he slumps back into his booth, his face dejected, desperate. Please, Chase, just try to understand. What? I let some anger into my voice, watching to show Leo that I'm not going to forgive him just because he's sad. And I think he realizes that because his face changes, lips bared out of anger this time. Yeah, I'm real fucking guilty, aren't I? Yeah, you are. Says the asshole that just ditches me, avoids me, won't talk to me. I don't say anything in response. And you wonder why I'm fucked up about this? You're the one that just walked out and left me. I was young. Yeah, you keep saying that like you're not young now. If you had actually dumped me, then maybe I wouldn't be this fucking messed up about it. The last sentence escalates into a scream, and I flatten back into the booth, glaring up at him. Leo had never hurt me before, and I'm not afraid he will now. I've endured plenty of his tantrums. Do you know how crazy this makes you look? Oh, great, you too. I'm serious. This is fucking unacceptable. I'm drawing the line here. Leo's snarling face turns up, and that's when I hear the movement behind me. I turn in my seat and see Janice striding out from behind the counter, the kitchen door swinging shut behind her. Janice? Leo's fur flattens back down like he's forgotten all about our argument. It makes sense why. Something's wrong. Janice had been acting strange all week, gradually looking more haggard and pissed off as time went on. Of course, I hadn't forgotten what happened on the side of the road a few days back. But I had been content with just assuming it had been some type of drug-fueled adventure of hers. Now I'm convinced she's having a mental breakdown. Her fur is mussed up on every inch of her body, but the drawing isn't that, so it's finally time to reveal her, honestly.
I was gonna say, she looks fine to me.
Her eyes are wild and wide, similar to how I'd seen Clint earlier. Blood is smeared across her apron, and the handle of a knife sticks out of the front pocket. Janice, are you okay? Leo's half standing. I'm not sure if it's because he's afraid for her or of her. She doesn't say anything, and as she sidles up next to our booth, I slide a bit towards the inside. Under her wild gaze, I'm feeling a little trapped. Janice?
Wild shouting. Little impatient? Well, let me take your order and I'll get you settled.
Are you okay? Are you cooking? Leo gazes at her apron.
Yes, I'm cooking today. What can I make you?
I get the unnerving feeling that she isn't even looking at us. Leo glances back at me, to which I respond with a bewildered look of my own. You know, I think we might...
Nonsense. I got everything fired up in the kitchen.
Leo doesn't respond, just stares at the big coyote. Will you be having Clint today? got him diced up nicely. Janice smiles crookedly.
Well, if you're not going to order something, then I'll just make your favorite.
With that, she turns and starts waddling off, having not even acknowledged me. What the fuck?
What's your favorite? What's your favorite, Leo?
Chase.
Oh no, it's chopped up otter.
I reach into my pocket, thinking about calling an ambulance for the poor woman, until I remember my dead phone.
I feel like it's a little bit judgmental. I mean, maybe she's just having a rough morning. Like, maybe she just looks a little bit haggard. Like, you know, I go to work sometimes and you know, I'd be... someone could call the cops on me. I might look like I'm like all strung out.
I don't think it's that judgmental, just because there's the details where she's covered in blood, which can happen, but it's a bit much for a diner.
Yeah, probably.
And she's not looking at Chase, and she didn't respond to any of Leo's. And she didn't respond to any of Leo's questions. It's like she didn't look at either of them at all. She didn't respond to any of Leo's concerned questions. She clearly... it doesn't actually make sense how wrong she is about what we were yelling about. And yeah, she literally doesn't even see... she didn't even notice the Chase existed, somehow.
Maybe she's just on drugs. Leave her alone.
That's... just on drugs. This quickly changed from like, I don't know, maybe sometimes you just have a hard day at work to like, maybe she's drugged out of her mind. Like, yeah, no, that was the premise.
Just don't be a narc. Just let her have her day.
I whisper over to Leo. Should we leave? Maybe. But Leo doesn't move, just stares after Janice. I look out the window to the sun-baked road. Have you noticed that something's off? About Janice? No shit. Not just her, the whole town. I think about mentioning the meadow with Clint and Brian, but I'm still having to absorb that myself. Leo sits back, still looking back at the kitchen door, where Janice disappeared. Honestly, people act so crazy here, I don't know if it's because of the drugs or because they're actually crazy. I see his nose twitch. And I don't think she knows how to cook. Something smells funny in there. I look back out the window, wondering if I should bring up our argument again. I think that they're both probably very thankful for the distraction, even though it just means they're going to continue to not resolve this. Somebody should check. I'm so convinced it's a body.
Probably.
That scene with Janice has totally thrown me off, and I'm reluctant to waste more energy on yelling.
Like, basically, where's the cook that normally cooks? Is he the one that's being cooked? Is the cook that cooks being cooked? Janice is a cook. Janice is a waitress. What's she doing cooking today? Who called out?
It has to be brought up again somehow. We can't just let this sit. It's clear that's exactly what Leo wants, though, so I huff and stare out the window. This fucking town. I haven't been paying much attention to it in the past few days, being too infatuated with Leo. Sure, I'd seen some weird things, but it seems in my absence everyone's gone to the fucking wacky shack. I look at Leo. Have you been noticing any of this weird shit going on? Leo sighs. Again, I never know what's weird or not out here. I guess I've noticed a few things. I frown. Were you just hoping I wouldn't notice? Leo doesn't say anything. Instead, he just goes on staring at the kitchen. Would he really just let me blindly move to this town when he knew everyone was going crazy? I mean, you guys already talked about it again after you got beaten over the head, so you weren't completely blindsided here. You were only blindsided by that pipe. Looking out the window, I notice a figure moving up the street, jogging. A feline. TJ? Is that Tej? Leo glances out the window. Looks like it. Out for a jog, of course. Or he's being chased. Knowing how this day's been going.
Well, I mean, it's a tough call considering the situation, but TJ does seem like he would be the kind of guy who would jog on a fucking vacation.
Yeah.
Who the fuck jogs in their vacation?
He's always got to keep up with it. Also, no one's spending time with him, so...
Poor kid. It's kind of like when they have gyms at hotels, which I know is probably more so for people who have to travel for business, because it's like...
Yeah.
But it's like the people who are like, oh, great, there's a gym at this hotel. I can exercise while on my cruise boat or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, you're on vacation. Don't exercise on the cruise boat.
I mean, there are people who just really genuinely enjoy weightlifting, and it bothers them when they spend time not doing it.
I don't understand those people.
You gotta get really into weightlifting first.
To each their own, you know?
Supposedly it's like euphoric at some point.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like runner's high or something.
Yeah. But I fully expect us to like look back at whatever fucking mess Janice is doing here, and we're just gonna miss the fact that something horrible's happening to TJ right now, and like he won't know we're in the diner, so he won't know to come to us, and so we're just missing background distressing details.
I feel like no matter which way we look, we're gonna be missing something important.
Yeah, I mean this game will, like, before things go to actual shit each time, it feels like we're always experiencing I think I've said this before, but it always feels like the opening days of Shaun of the Dead. Yeah. Where, like, the world's already going to shit, and they just aren't noticing for, like, 48 hours.
It's leading up to something terrible.
Yeah. The wolf turns his attention back to the counter as Janice comes out, a messy, dribbling milkshake in her hand. Hey, Janice, what are you cooking back there? I glance at the crazy coyote as she wobbles over to us, staring at the milkshake with wide eyes.
Oh, you know, meat.
Ambiguous meat?
Just some meat, you know.
People love to not identify what kind of meat they're cooking.
It's like if you asked...
What are you grilling? Meat.
It's like if you asked me, I'm like, I don't know what these pieces are.
Leo lets out a hollow laugh. What kind of meat?
I'll be honest with you, it's a bit tough and stringy.
It's a person. It's Flynn. I lost interest.
A lizard would be tough and stringy, I think.
I lose interest in their conversation and instead look back out at TJ. I feel like something's off for sure. He's a ways away, but he looks kind of afraid. One of his hands reaches out to bat at something. Something's wrong. I mutter it under my breath and start to stand, set on getting out there to see what's going on with him. I think TJ is currently seeing the other version of stuff.
TJ's tripping out over there.
Yeah, I think he's stuck in the thing, and we could wake him, but we won't because we're not going to catch him.
We'll wake him in his own. He has to wait for his own.
Yeah, like what's happening?
His own playthrough.
I'm just really worried about what's happening to TJ because he's more sympathetic than Leo is. We're gonna get trapped in this fucking milkshake situation.
I want her to elaborate on the meat more.
Yeah, elaborate on the meat. But at that moment, a truck pulls into the parking lot, right in front of our window. I find myself staring at Duke. Cool, lot happening right now. I also see something big in the back of his pickup. A brown furred head peeking over the roof. Oh, it's gonna be
the
Brian.
Bear. Yeah.
Duke. Leo snaps his head over to look out the window. As the weasel gets out of his truck, I see something in his hand. A gun. Okay.
Okay.
Shit.
The music stopped.
I'm amused by the idea that there's a tactic that you can use to interrupt a scene if you don't want to resolve it and you want to introduce something else. And so we didn't fully resolve Leo's argument because Leo got because Janice happened. And then we didn't fully resolve the Janice situation
because TJ
happened. And then we didn't follow up on TJ because now Duke's here with a gun.
Which is obviously the most pressing of all these things.
We could have been anywhere else.
Honestly, this scene is making me a little bit stressed out because of the adding of new things to think about. It's like when people want your attention all at the same time. It's a little bit stressful.
Anyway, see you guys when we resolve this next time.
Wish us luck.